Good afternoon, everybody.
How are you?
Tired. I didn't get back till almost 2 o'clock from that event. And then I was up early, so and then I've had one, two, three, four, five 1 hour calls. So I'm smoked, man. Smoked. But excited for today. We got Big Fred getting ready to lay it all out. What's up, everybody? I see you, Mr. Billy, Mr. Fred, Mr. D, two D's, Damon and Don, my D and D, Miss Gladia. And Doc, how are you? We got
What's going
Zach.
on?
Not much, man. Just doing a bunch of stuff with the VA and
Congrats on
cool.
the award.
Thanks. Yeah, that was. I didn't know
Yeah,
that was
man.
coming.
Awesome.
Didn't know that was coming, but definitely well earned. No, I'm kidding. I had no clue. So Brian Losey was there. He's a two-star admiral, old damn that guy, and a bunch of the SEAL Team Six plank owners. So no pressure. I was just like, but I had a 20-minute speech, and they always have issues, and I had 4 minutes, so I was like, fuck. But let's see, where is Jason on here?
Not yet.
All right, well, um, when the clock strikes two, we get to work, man.
Yeah, he's
Waiting.
he said he would be early.
No, well, I guess I'm gonna have to dock. I was gonna
Okay.
remember the quote from Blazing Saddles. Not the most dock that chick a day's pay for nothing on a job. Back when you could make a joke and it was harmless and was just fun.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. We got people still joining. Let's see. I see Mitch. How you doing, sir? Thank you for the message the other day. Damon,
Absolutely.
I hear you're back and grinding, back and doing what you do, making that money. Good.
Yeah. Hey,
Mm,
it supports a way of life I love. I'm not ready to give it up yet.
mm. I fucking told you that. We're thinking about that. I was like, dude, you make too much money to. Well, it's not about money. I get it, but sometimes when you take this and you go to even, whoo, it can be different. Anyway,
Yeah.
um, real quick, guys, I want to thank everybody for getting on here. Still some just badass human beings that take time out of their busy days to be a part of this group, this brotherhood and sisterhood that we have. See, included you. Um, because a lot of organizations don't do this, like it can just be I talk and no one can interact here. We want to interact. The thing that pisses me off is where is everyone else? How busy, what? Because their time's not more valuable than ours. It's just we prioritize what's important, right? Now I know you can't make it every week. Um, Sorry, I made a post about Kid Rock and Saw Man said they're hamming, many asking if he's public. Okay. Um, Kid Rock called me yesterday after the event he did. He's like, was I better than the bunny? I was like, I don't know. I didn't watch it. But needless to say, I'm glad everybody's here. Matt, I see you popped in. We got an amazing human being getting ready to try human being. I'm going to speak today, Mr. Fred, family man, just a man that I'm proud to have in our group. We're going to let you take the helm for a while and then do what you do. And then obviously we'll have our other fearless leader, Jason, after I think he's rolling up his sleeves, no pun intended,
Oh,
ready to get to work. And I'm going to put this on mute and let you do your magic, sir.
very good. Well, I wanted to talk to the group today about adversity because that's something near and dear to my heart, and something I've been through quite a bit of over the years. So I want to see how do you react when adversity rears its ugly head in your world? So, adversity is commonly defined as difficulties or misfortunes, and it comes in various forms. Many of us know too well that adversity can appear suddenly as a health issue, an accident, a job loss, some kind of financial or investment problem, or maybe even the tragic, unexpected loss of a loved one. So within our small group, we've had, no different than the general population. We've seen many examples of adversity shared over the last few months. So I thought I'd share a little bit of my background and some of the physical adversity that I've had to go through and how I was able to battle through it mentally to overcome it. And then we'll go around the table and see what kind of adversities you guys have gone through and how you've made it through it. So a little bit of health backstory for me. I was blessed with some terrible orthopedic genes from my mother. When I was about 29 years old, I started getting terrible lumbar pain that I couldn't find any relief from. I tried chiropractors, injections, physical therapy, just about every pain pill ever invented, and nothing helped. So fast forward 5 years, I was at my wit's end trying a new pain management doctor, and he suggested injecting my left hip to see if he could give me some sciatic relief. And unfortunately, he bent 3 needles as he was trying to get into the joint. So realizing it was completely arthritic, he sent me to some physical therapy, and I did 3 months of that with no relief. So we did X-rays and an MRI, and that led to my first total hip replacement at 32 years old. So simultaneously, I started working with a spine surgeon to see what they could do with the back pain now that we were addressing the hip that was causing my back issues. So at 35, I had the first of 5 back surgeries. And the first one was a 2-level fusion of L4-5 and L5-S1. And the last back surgery I had was at 46 years old, and it was another fusion at L2-3. So I still have one good disc in between the 2 fusions. But a short 8 months following rehab of the spine surgery at 46, and I got my other hip replaced, this time the right one, and everything seemed to be good in life until the real adversity crept in. So it was Christmas Eve of 2021. It was a beautiful snowy day. I had the day off of work and my wife was at her office. So I decided to gear up and go out for a ruck in the snow. So I opened the garage door. It was about 20 degrees outside. I slipped on my 32-pound weight vest and then started to put the hiking boots on. As I bent over to lace up my right boot, bam, just an unbelievable instant pain rocked my body as my right hip dislocated. And the pain of that and the sound of it literally shook me to the core as the metal head of the replacement was pushing backwards onto my sciatic nerve. So after yelling every possible obscenity that I could think of, I was able to gain composure and realize that there was literally no one there to help. I had no neighbors outside, no wife nearby. Even my dogs were inside the house. So no one was going to save me. I had to save myself. So carefully balancing on one leg in unbelievable pain, I still had the vest on. I had to figure out, how am I not going to freeze to death while I'm waiting for help? So I hopped over a few feet to my truck, leaned against it, and thank God I had placed my cell phone in my vest. So I called my wife, told her what happened, and that I needed an ambulance as soon as possible. She called the paramedics and she rushed home. And then I proceeded to use motivation from having read and watched and met Marcus Luttrell, the lone survivor, because I figured that if he could crawl on the ground for 7 miles with a broken back and broken pelvis on top of the severe shrapnel wounds he had, as well as biting his tongue in half, then certainly I could get my big boy pants on and muster up the strength to get my ass onto the ground and crawl over to the rug leading into the house. It seemed impossible, and the excruciating pain was the most intense I've ever encountered. But somehow I made it over to that warm rug and safe from the cold concrete. So then, using the cell phone app, I was able to close the garage door. I tried to warm up while waiting on an eternity for help to arrive. My amazing wife and my son arrived just before the paramedics, and they were able to quickly get me to the hospital for a closed reduction to reposition the hip. So, having survived that adversity, it well prepared me for my next adversity. In July of 22, just a couple years later, we were down in Cabo with some friends for a destination wedding, and several of us guys headed out to sea to do some marlin fishing. We were preparing to fish about 25 miles out to sea away from the marina, and I decided it's time to put some sunscreen on. So I bent over awkwardly down in the bows of the fishing boat, and bam, I dislocated my right hip again. So I'm standing there by myself, again in excruciating pain. I recounted the prior thing and I remained calm. I fought off passing out by slamming 2 bottles of water. And then I managed to alert my friends who were up on the back of the boat and told them about the problem. And needless to say, it completely ruined the fishing. We had the captain thankfully made the decision to turn around, make the hour-and-a-half trek back to shore, where we met my wife and an ambulance, and then had a incredible 5-hour adventure at a Spanish-speaking American hospital. They successfully fixed the hip and sent me on my way home. So we were able to join back up with our friends at the resort and made it in time for dinner with the group. So overcoming my adversity and then being able to dance at the wedding the next evening actually stirred something inside of me. The story had spread to the entire wedding party, which was at least 75 people. And everyone that was there was absolutely amazed that I was even able to walk, let alone dance and have a good time. So it was that time I realized that going through my own difficult situations could actually be used to motivate others to get off their asses. The following day, my wife and I took a sightseeing boat out to see the amazing area around Cabo with all the rocks and the beautiful structures. So it was just her and I and 2 mates on a captain's little boat. And I was actually able to convince the guy to let me drive the boat in 5 to 6 foot seas. So I actually conquered the adversity from the bouncing boat 2 days prior. But unfortunately, Mitch Aguiar's slogan of seek adversity kind of became my motto. As I came home from my son's wedding reception 2 years later in September of 24, I was attempting to unlace my tuxedo rental shoes and bam, my right hip dislocated a dreadful 3rd time. So this time was pretty ugly. I fell to the ground and landed awkwardly because I had been overly served by the bartenders that night. So again, my wife was there to save the day. She called paramedics and another round of going to the hospital for another closed reduction. So since each dislocation increases the risk of future dislocations, I was able to work with a new amazing surgeon who was able to get my hip revised with a bigger ball so that now, knock on wood, it's got a lot more range of motion and hopefully no more dislocations for me. So my big takeaways from dealing with this kind of physical adversity there's several of them. So the first one was that no one is going to save you unless you are prepared to save yourself first. That first instance where I was alone and had no one to come help me, if I hadn't prepared and had the phone with me, I would have maybe laid there in the cold for hours. The second one would be prepared for any kind of contingency. And this is especially for those of us that go hiking alone, doing something outside that's kind of out of the normal. So if you're going to do that, leave a message with someone that knows you, your spouse, your kids, whoever. Let them know where you're going, tell them where you'll be, when you expect to be home, etc. Make sure you have your phone or a watch on your body with the GPS turned on, just in case you need to be located, because you never know when you're going to fall down a hill, break an ankle, dislocate a hip. And then a third one would be that your mind is extremely powerful, and adversity actually strengthens it, just as iron sharpens iron. If you can replace your negative thoughts with positive thoughts, you're going to overcome adversity every day of the week. And then when you encounter pain, always remember that the pain is temporary and you can overcome it with your mind. You don't need to dive into the pain pills and get stuck on them, especially if you forge your mind with a never quit attitude and that you're going to keep getting after it. As they say in the teams, embrace the suck, because it will definitely make you stronger mentally. And another one that I kind of go back to is that there are others who have gone through similar adversities, and many people have gone through something a lot worse than your challenge. If you seek those people out and use their stories of their success as motivation, it'll help you get through your own adversity. I used Marcus Luttrell as a great example. He had been through a lot worse than I was going through, And it literally helped me figure out how the hell to get on the ground and get to safety. So then another one would be to be a motivator of others by sharing your stories. I can't tell you how many people I've talked to over the years who they act like it's the end of the world because they've got an infected toenail, plantar fasciitis, a sprained ankle, something that seems very minor to me, but it seems like the end of the world to them. And when you share your agony and the pain of what you went through and how you conquered it with a positive mindset, it literally reinforces that they too can overcome their adversity with a positive mindset and by putting in the work. So just share your story with those people and let them know that they can do it too. And then realize that life happens for you and not to you. And I think this one's important because it's a key to overcoming adversity. Every event in your life can teach you something if you let it. Those who are able to find those lessons will succeed. Those who blame their circumstances on others will fail miserably. And then finally, strengthen your faith so that you can find comfort in those darkest of hours. Because when you least expect it, adversity will definitely rear its ugly head. So, with that as a backstory, I'll turn it around the horn and we'll see what you guys have gone through and maybe share some ideas on how you would deal with adversity, whether it's financial, family issues, physical, what have you. So I'll just start up at the top on my screen with Billy. Billy, what do you got for us?
I sit here struggling thinking about it. I haven't experienced adversity, to be honest with you, not to the levels that people think of adversity. Anything that you might consider adversity in my life is I've created it. It's something I've done, it's nothing I haven't dislocated a hip. I have bad shoulders, but that's just years of the horse business. And, so the adversity I face, I don't think of it as adversity. I think is I caused this issue, whatever that issue is. And the way I always try to look at it, and I'm getting much better now. I used to be a victim, and I am no longer a victim. Now I look at things as this too shall pass. That is the one thing I really live by when I have a problem. It's not the end of the world. It will go away, and then we'll have another problem next year. You know what I mean? So I don't have adversity, and I'm grateful for that. I don't, not say that something might come up in the future. Who knows? But when it does, if it does come up, I'm just going to deal with it. It's just I will search out the people that have been through it. Example, if I dislocate a hip, Fred, I'm calling you.
Perfect.
So I look for a solution. That's it. That's how I deal with adversity. Just look for the solution. So
Very good. Appreciate it. Don, what's happening with you?
Hey guys, sorry, I'm in my building. It's pretty loud in here, but I'll go quick. So I have had a lot of adversity in my life, and I'm not gonna share the stories of that. But what I will say is, in my last business where I worked all night long, everything was an insurmountable battle. So we're faced with insurmountable battles, right? Don't fight the whole battle all at once, man. Chop it up into tiny little pieces. Like I used to say to myself, I'd be leaving at my house at 11 o'clock at night on no sleep for 2 days, exhausted, having to go load trucks all night long and into the day. And it's insurmountable to think about getting through that. So I would say to myself, like, you just have to get to New York now. And I get to New York and I'd say, now you just have to go shop this vendor. And then little bit by little bit, the little pieces make the big puzzle. And it's been the same thing with like serious adversity in my life where people have died unexpectedly and just getting sick or, you know, just chop it up, man. Don't take it all on at once. Chop it up into little pieces and focus on that and just know that you're going to get to the big picture in time.
Mhm. Amen to that. I like to say it's 1 hour at a time. Perfect. Well, Claudia, I'll throw it to you. What do you got?
So the thing that popped into my mind when you started talking was to talk about my bankruptcy. I was in debt and it was a lot. So I went to this agency that helped me out. I freaked out because I had to focus on certain payments to pay, others I should not pay. So the calls came in. I got me a second phone to not have the calls. But I went through it. I went through the court and everything, got me a second job, worked like 80 hours a week without a weekend. I started at one job, like 1 to 1. Then from 5 till midnight, I worked at a restaurant, an American restaurant, and then back at 1 o'clock at the other job. So I kept going until I couldn't anymore, and then I just pushed through. And then at one point, I even got a letter from a collection agency, and I was freaking out. And it turned out I got money back because they took too much, which was funny. I got exactly back at the day of a festival, which my friend before bugged me the whole time to come with her. And it was like a sign of God. Good job, girl. Enjoy that festival. So in the meantime, I also had like my gastric bypass surgery done, and I had all the skin tightening surgeries going on. That was all on the side while I worked those 2 jobs. And there was 2 lessons I got out of it. First, people started bad-mouthing about me at first, and I was ashamed. Once I was finished, I was like, do it like I did. Come on, do it. So I was there with pride. And the other thing it teach me afterwards is I recognized I needed something, a goal I have to work towards. That kind of like gave me the how should I say it? It made me aware that I need goals to work towards, not just the finish line, because it kind of like pushed me down after I finished. And then I figured it out during counseling.
Fantastic. I love it. Perfect. Thanks for that. Mitch, what do you got for us?
I'm still stuck on Don chopping his adversity up into little pieces. I'm seeing it in my mind's eye there, Don, but mostly wondering where they're buried. So one of the things that I've learned going through some ugly shit is that, people come, probably have had people tell you things like, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it. Sometimes I don't either, but you do it. Right. And people will say, well, I haven't had anything quite as big as that. The other thing that I've learned is that your 100% ugliest shit is your 100% ugliest shit. And yes, something worse could happen, but you're bad. There's not really a comparison when you're going through it, right? My wife taught me when we were just young having kids, and I'd tell kids, go clean up the room. She's like, at their age, that's like saying fix the whole freaking world, right? Like it's too big, right? So it's a small thing, seemed like a small thing to me, but it's huge in their world. And I think that's how some of this adversity is, right? Is that tell you, I have history of really ugly shit. Your bad shit is your bad shit. So that's kind of how I face it going forward. And then I get a fair amount of help with my own stuff by reaching out and connecting with others.
Yeah. Very good. Appreciate it. Bill, what do you got for us?
Yeah, this one I'm going to go back all the way to my senior year in high school. I was not really motivated in high school to do the work that needed to be done because I wasn't really planning on what the future looked like. Nobody in my family had ever gone to college, so it wasn't really something that resonated until it did, right? And then I realized, oh shit, I should have been doing better and had my grades better. And so I applied to some colleges, got denied. Went to the guidance counselor, and she was like, college isn't for you, Bill. It's just never going to work out for you. And I was like, well, I still want to go through the application process and see what we can't maybe figure out. Had to convince her to send the applications in. East Carolina University accepted me on a probationary status because of my low GPA in high school. But I did have a a higher SAT score, which is why they accepted the probationary. So I made a decision that I was going to do it. Then the problem became finances. How the hell am I going to? How is this going to happen? My folks didn't really have the cash sitting around to afford, and so I started getting creative. I applied for jobs. I was a laborer for a construction company right outside my dorm. They were renovating the health center, and so I had early morning hours. I'd labor there, and then I got a job with parking and transportation, painting parking lots in the middle of the night. So that didn't interfere with my coursework. I didn't sleep all that much, but I made that work. Then I had to figure out, all right, well, that was enough to survive, but I can't cover my room and board. And I really didn't want to have to leave school with a bunch of loans. And so my second semester as a freshman, I got a resident advisor position. And so that covered my room and board. And I was sort of the leader on the wing. To make a really long story short, I ended up with a 4.0 GPA. I did very, very well in my freshman year. And then I was selected as a sophomore to go on a hometown tour with the chancellor. My hometown was only an hour away from the university, and I remember getting that call, and the chancellor said, "Is there anybody specifically that you want to talk? Do you want me to introduce to you at your old high school?" And I said, "Yeah, actually, Miss Satz, my guidance counselor, who said I never would be able to go to college. I'd like for you to meet her." And the look on her face when she saw me and the chancellor, and he had all kinds of great things to say about me. There's always a way, I guess, is the end result there, Fred, right? There's always a way, there's a will. It may suck. It may mean that I didn't live the college life that most college kids lived. I never went to a college football game. I was busy setting up the cones for the traffic pattern and setting up the tailgating lot. I didn't get to partake in the tailgating. But for me, there was a bigger prize at the end of it, right? I think that's, that shaped who I was. And I thank my parents for that. They didn't know the answer. They never figured out how to send somebody to college, right? Now, when my sister came along, they were able to figure out the loans and all of that stuff, and that was all fine and dandy. But for me, I was kind of paving my own way. And I look back in retrospect, and it was, you had to make some decisions, right? All my friends were drinking, they were partying, they were having a good time, and I had to be the responsible one. I had to make sure that people were in and out of the dorms, they were doing what they were supposed to, and they weren't getting into trouble. I remember walking by Wings, and I'm like, "Guys, you're smoking weed again." And I was like, "I don't really give a shit, but why are you doing it on the front windows where people walk by? Go blow it out the back windows into the parking lot where people aren't walking by. Like, let's be smart about it." And so, that shaped everything for me, for who I am today. Is if you work hard enough, you'll figure it out. But it's not going to be handed to you on a silver platter.
Amen. Love it. Thanks, man. Zach, what do you got for us?
Howdy, howdy. So for adversity, I've had a good bit. Some I've caused by myself, and some just life handed to me. Some of the things that I have kind of that I'm using now is trying like, where's my anchor, right? So it's like I try and have my be rooted in my faith, right? So like I stay in the Psalms and Proverbs, and then that way I don't let my situation or circumstance be defined by that. Like my peace comes from Jesus, and that's kind of for me. If I leave it to me, if I leave it to Zach, man, I'm gonna mess it up. So just being honest. So like I'm trying to lead in the Word and not on the world, because it's hard, man. It's tough. And I'm in therapy. I beat the hell out of myself. I kind of started therapy being in this group, like seeing how sharp you guys are and realizing how far I've got to go, how messed up I was. And kind of learning from you guys, leaning, kind of like writing Psalms and Proverbs on my brain, to where like when I'm going through something, it's not a worldly response, it's a kingdom response, to where it's it's written on my head, to where it's like, hey, I'm feeling this, and then instead of feeling down or whatever, I'll have something that is gonna make me feel better. For me, I kind of found out that I had a jacked up heart while I was in the Army. Planned on doing Army. I'd be retiring next year, which was kind of sucks. but everything happens for a reason, right? So like I started over at 28 years old, moved in with my parents when I got out of the Army. Couldn't get into college because my grades sucked in high school. It really sucked. So I had to go to junior college. So I had to chip at it. I had to start out in junior college, living with my parents, get a little apartment. Kind of that was, I want to say, probably the lowest I've been, right? Was going from pretty successful, career in the Army to living with your mom, $800. But I got to know God then, the best I've ever known him. And that's kind of where I am now. Hunt the good stuff I have, because no matter what season you're in, no matter how bad or dark or crappy it is, there's something good there. Find purpose in the pain. Like if you're hurting, if you're going through some stuff, find purpose in it. Because there's always something there. And I wrote down, like, where is your anchor? And for me, my anchor is my faith. When it gets rough and tough, I lean on him and my faith. And it's a work in progress, a journey. And that's what I got. So I appreciate you letting me share.
Perfect. Yeah, I love it, Zach. That's great. Matt, what do you got? You got a mute button.
There it is. Sorry.
There it is.
Hey, so I'm gonna take it back like Bill did. Back when I was a kid, I got gastric Crohn's disease. I had that for a while, and so I'm from New York. 9/11 happened. All I wanted to do was serve. That's all I wanted to do, right? So I tried enlisting. I tried doing ROTC route through college because I have on both sides of the family, all different branches of the service. And everybody told me no. They kept saying no because I had the gastric Crohn's disease. I had to take this one pill every day. But I didn't let that stop. I didn't let that stop me, right? So I kept finding ways to serve. Like, okay, what line of work or what job or whatever is going to allow me to fulfill that need of service. So basically, what I'm getting at is where I'm at today is I never gave up. Right, like I always had that hunger. I always had that fire. Like I don't care, come hell or high water, I'm going to find a way to serve my country because of what happened on that day.
Fantastic. Thanks for sharing. Hey, Damon, what do you got? You've had a little adversity over the years. He looks like he's frozen. Are you with us, Damon? If not, I'll kick it to Jason. Jason, what do you got for us?
Yeah, it looks like he just dropped off.
Yep.
Oh man. Brett, good job, man.
Thank you.
I think this hits on one of my toxic traits that my wife hates. I've shared a few of my adversity trials through these calls with you guys, and it seemed like I'm pretty damn used to it, and I don't get rattled when things don't go my way. I found a lot of peace in looking to others on the same path, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with Sisyphus, but I love Greek mythology. He's the guy that was condemned by the gods to roll a boulder up to the top of a mountain, and the second it gets there, it rolls back down, and he has to start again. So it's like endless trials and like not being able to see the end, but finding some sort of meaning inside of the struggle. And I put that to a lot of the grit in my life of just do the work, stay loyal to the path, and do it right. I have to tell you, like I found a lot of what Zach true to me in this season. I'm giving a lot up to Jesus. And now I'm recognizing that I could have had a lot more fruitful times and space if I would have been looking towards Job, where in the times of adversity, even if I don't understand it, no matter how bad it hurts, I'm not going to become bitter. I'm not going to become dishonest. And no matter why it's happening, focus more on who will I become through this happening to me. and trying to figure out what it actually means. I don't think that there's a free lunch to any of this. And depending on, Fred, I think it was you that said, I actually learned this through working with a lot of kids in the foster care system, that the worst thing that ever happened to us is literally still the worst thing that ever happened to us. So if it was our dog getting ran over when we were a kid, that's pretty fucking hard to get over with. Or if it's, any of the other trials that were put in front of us, we all have our own hurdles that we have to clear, and then how much we decide to let it pronounce and continue through each chapter of our life. So, man, me, I just try to focus on being better than I was today. And my wife and I got into a pretty cool conversation. I just want to share with you guys, and then I'll let it go. We're trying to connect on a daily basis, even if we can't fit dates in. We just sit on the couch and connect. And we did a Bible reading this morning, and we were talking about the Sermon on the Mount, and we've just been parsing that out. And this one was about the salt and light. And the salt is really meant as a refinement of perseverance and what cleans you, and who in our life is actually making us better. Who do we not cuss around? Who do we want to be better? Who do we want to show up in a different way that we probably wouldn't if no one was around? And then on the flip side is who's the light in our life? Who's the one that's filling our cup? And I immediately thought of this group, and I'm feeling really refined by spending time and having conversations with you guys. So I was really grateful to speak about you guys this morning with Bridget on the couch, sitting there talking about not only the salt, the things that you guys are cleaning inside of me, but the light that you're shining too.
Beautiful. Love it. Love it. Damon, did you join us again?
Yeah, I'm here. If you can hear me, I'm in and out of service, going through middle of godforsaken Kansas. You guys can hear me though, right?
Yep, we got you.
Okay. Yeah, this kind of, I resonate a lot with what Jason said. Life has been, I feel like I rolling the ball uphill and I get there and then it rolls back down. But I also have really started to come to realize that a lot of that's my belief system, and I create those things. And when I was
I think he hit a dead zone. Nothing there.
No, he's gone.
No, he's gone.
Are you
Okay.
there?
Yeah, we're still here.
I'm trying to park. Okay. So it's just kind of been that way in my life, belief system. I don't know if you can hear me or not because everything's frozen on my end.
Yeah, we got you now.
Okay, I'm going to move to a different spot. So it just comes down to like a belief system, and something that Mitch said about you can't compare. I think every bit of adversity is something that prepares you for the next. And any movement.
Yeah, looks like we lost him again.
Yeah. What? I'm in such a bad area.
That's all right.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, I'm losing service.
That's all right. Thanks for trying, Damon. Well, I'll kick it back to Ray and Jason with any closing comments. We've dusted past the half hour already.
Guys, this is amazing. Listen, we've all overcome adversity in some fashion. I mean, from the time we're born to the time we die, we're going to continue to do it. I think there's some good commonalities in here, having faith, You know, believing in yourself. I mean, if I listened to everything everybody said, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. But you know, it's not something that we're done doing in any fashion. You know, Claudia spoke of bankruptcy. I've claimed bankruptcy before. Welcome to being a fucking entrepreneur. You know, like it's just all in the wording. You know, it's all in the wording. It's you're stronger for it. So adversity, you know, there's some adversity that some individuals have gone on here that I hope I never have to, and I wish they never had to go through. He knows what I'm talking about. But the rest of the bullshit, we can do it.
Yep.
You know, things that we can overcome. There's certain things we can't overcome, we can't undo, but bankruptcy, whatever. You know, 7 years ago I was broke. I'm not broke now. You won't be either in 7 years, you know. Believing in the Lord. I never used to. I'm starting to. Like, you know, having better relationships with people you love. You know, I'm new to that. So we're all overcoming things. We all have obstacles. You know, we all lose people in our lives, and that's something that you'll never, you know, I've lost loved ones. I know Mitch and everybody on here has, but there's certain things I don't compare that. I don't overcome that, and I never will. And I make that a known fact that, you know, just because you're dealing with a situation doesn't mean you've overcome it. It means you're dealing with it in your own fashion. So, but shit like, you know, people telling you you're nothing, bankruptcy. I mean, bankruptcy has happened to some of the richest people I know. I've been in rooms, Claudia, with people that are the oohs and ahs, and I was embarrassed to tell about it. They're like, yeah, I've been claimed bankruptcy twice. I'm like, oh, okay, so it's not just me. So, but I'm thankful and grateful for everybody in this group. What I'm thankful about is the vulnerability and the honesty. Instead of getting on here and telling everybody how fucking awesome we are, we tell everybody how real we are. And I see all the comments. There was a bunch of stuff going on the other night. I was in an event. I wanted to tune in, but I'm sitting beside a six-time Purple Heart recipient and the next governor of Florida. So I was like, yeah, I'll just put my phone down and keep my mouth shut. So I just want to thank you all for your time. I know Don has the follow-up call. Jason, you got anything?
Just appreciate you all.
Love you guys.
Yep. Thanks, everybody.
David, you're an asshole because you're calling us from a bad zone. But other than that, I love everybody else.
Great job, Fred.
Can't help it.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Now
guys
we
over
want
there.
to hear Damon. Just pretend you don't hear him. Just ignore him and pretend you don't hear him. I don't hear him. My
See you guys.
phone's not working. There. See, I can do the same thing.
Good job, Fred. We'll talk to you later, dude.
You got to
See
work
you
on the
guys.
freeze, though, Ray.
I will. Take care, everybody.
See you guys. Bye.